Every survivor enjoys a nice looking home, wherever it's in the vibrant green meadows, the mysterious black forest, the dry lands of plains, or even the icy peaks of the mountains. Everyone needs a place to return to from a long-lasting adventure, a place that they can call home. But what about these guys? Is there a place in the world that they can return to? I know that they just magically appear out of thin air. But would it be great if they would have their own corner in this world? I know that they have their own spawns, crypts, and villages. But let's just imagine if each and every one of them would have their own custom build. A small place where they can return to and rest between raiding the hell out of you. Sounds weird, doesn't it? Just take a look at these little fragile things. They deserve a little bit of comfort as well. So let's just imagine how would the mobs live if they had their own home. Today we're starting off with the Greydwarf family and her members, Fifer, Fiddler and Practical. Okay George, Halloween is long gone, you can cut it with the dress up. As I was saying, the plan is to make a cozy home for every type of Greydwarf. I'm not leaving you out, little one. The first build is the Greyling's house, the simplest one of them all, with an octagon base and some 2-meter high pillars. But this layout is just a temporary shell. The main concept for this cozy shack is to build it almost completely out of straw, with the minimum amount of wood and other materials. A little backstory. Each Greydwarf has his own rank and status in their society. That's why the starting point for the lowest rank is a straw house. But eventually they rank up, evolve and receive an upgrade. The last part for this simple hut was to add a couple of beams for the support and get rid of the temporary ones. Now to check out how does the Greyling even live. Inside we will find only the necessary things to survive. A bed, a small storage and some snacks. It's neat, practical and simple to make. A nice house to get you started. Next one on the list is my beloved friend, the Greydwarf. He has seen a couple of battles and is more prepared for the fight. That's why he deserves an upgrade. So I'm starting with the hexagon shape, and to make it unique, I've ditched the idea of placing ordinary walls. Instead, I'm making a spiral out of 26-degree beams. Added a couple of vertical beams to make it stand out and to support the roof as well. Speaking of which, a couple of 26-degree beams paired with 45s and a couple of crosses sets up that right mood. It's a small upgrade to the previous one. The roof is also thatch. I wanted to preserve the simplicity for this structure as much as I could. And to make it look neat, got rid of the unnecessary beams. As for the interior, place the floor tiles in a spiral against the wall. Made the border for a decorative hatch in the middle and covered the rest. Made a simple entrance with a couple of blue banners and started filling in the walls so they look more complete. As well, made a decorative support for the walls and the roof, so this place doesn't look like a battle. It ended up looking like something inappropriate, but strangely enough, I like it a lot. Now to add the final touch to the outside. I've placed a small porch to buff the foundation and a couple of custom pillars to bring it a dynamic touch. The end result looks something like this. Small, cozy and practical, with just the right amount of details. And on the inside, you can fit all of the necessary stuff and even have some room to spare. That's 2 down and 2 to go. So let's put a pinch of magic on the next house. And yet again, I'm making an octagon build, but this time it's out of stone. And yeah, every build here will be an octagon. The next resident doesn't mind that, right? As for the floor in this build, I wanted to make something interesting, that will give a small vibe of magic and mystery. So I left a hole for future decoration in advance. For the walls, I've placed a couple of pillars and blocks around the layout, and added a couple of arches to connect for the future windows. Raise the whole thing to one more block, and added stairs to bring a variety to this place. And to get a more majestic view for the build, buffed the walls with an extra layer of pillars. Then added a couple of layers of stone to get a higher ceiling. And finally made an interesting roof. For this one, I wanted the roof to have a small cap on top. After removing the beams, I've looked at it for a while and I was mostly satisfied. Still, something was missing. So I've placed an extra layer, and this is what came out. It looks even better than I imagined it in the beginning. After, I've added even more arches and blocks to get a solid composition. And by placing some wooden beams and pillars, the exterior was starting to look almost complete. As for the interior, placed a couple of cages on the windows, made an outline for the roof, and connected it all with a couple of 45-degree beams. Then, to mix up the interior, added some beams to give a sense of support. And buffed them with even more beams and core wood in the middle. I'm not a great stone builder, but by looking at this build, I'm starting to get proud of myself. As the shaman uses green magic, I've decided that this build will have a light green glow in the interior, and a couple of items that emphasizes the mystical vibe in it. 3 builds down, 1 to go. Let's jump to the last one. I will be honest with you, the final one was a challenge, as I poured out a lot of soul for the shaman's house, and I had doubts that I could do an even better one for the Brute. So I decided to start small and see where it goes. As I mentioned earlier, all of the houses will have an octagon shape, and this one is no different. The biggest difference is the size and the materials. This time I'm setting in with 6-meter walls, and a mixture of black marble and regular stone, just to make things interesting. I was starting to like the whole concept, but still couldn't see the big picture. So I was messing around with black marble, then placed a couple of windows, and added some core wood beams just to spice out the layout. Then I've added even more layers of stone. This will be the only build that will have a second floor. As for the top-ranked Greydwarf, I think he deserves a luxurious apartment, especially all of the suffering and pain that he brought to all of the players. The main concept for the base was done. Now it's time for the roof. As the structure is different from the rest, the roof should be a bit different as well. So I grabbed a couple of different angle beams and made a pointy roof with a slope. Then added some temporary crosses just to be able to place shorter beams. Made an outline and covered everything with shingle. I wanted to point out the superiority in rank and status with this build, so it would stand out even from the distance. The hardest part is done. Now for the details. Did a couple of adjustments to the outside, mixed some beams, walls and core wood to get a more detailed look to the place. And yet again something was missing. So I've added a small ledge to the window on the second floor. They won't be much of use, but it's just for the aesthetics. And placed a couple of banners here and there. Now that the outside is done, let me show you what I did on the inside. Firstly, I wanted to make an interesting pattern to the floor. Something that speaks out for itself. Not too simple, not too complicated, but something that will stand out. And as you enter this home, you can feel the importance of this place and its owner. Or maybe I just get too carried away by my fantasies. Who knows? Next in line was the second floor. I've started by adding an outline and some decorative support for it. It's already starting to get its shape. Then placed a simple spiral staircase. I don't know if a Greydwarf can even climb stairs, but let's just pretend that it's possible. As for the second floor, there's not much to tell you about. Just a plain old wooden pallet to separate the floor. The wall was a different story. I didn't want to overcomplicate things, but at the same time I wanted this floor to look cozy as much as possible. The solution came quick to me. I've begun to love the idea of mixing different kind of materials. Core wood with ordinary wood, sometimes mixing with tarred wood. Like for instance, adding a simple connecting piece or a cap on the tar wood poles. These small details is what brings the build to life. So apparently I did even more adjustments to this place, like small decorations and stuff, that I will show you a bit later. For now, I'll show you the roof support that I did. I don't know why, but I really enjoy when the build is complete from top to bottom, even if it's the part that anyone barely looks at. And on that note, I can say for sure that this place is finished. I really don't know if it looks better than the shaman's house, but I'm really glad that I've pushed myself to work with black marble again. It's such a fantastic material. So let's see what's behind the curtains, shall we? This house was made specifically to show the difference in the Greydwarfs hierarchy. A spacious place with a lot of storage, goods and equipment. And what is the best way to point out that you are sitting on top of the food chain? Is by showing off your riches and trophies. Finally, the small village is complete, and every being has its own place to return to, that they can call home. And what do you think, guys? Does a Valheim mob deserves to have a cozy build in this world? This was a strangely fun experience for me, so I hope you enjoyed this weird little idea that I had. And as always, I will gladly see you soon in the next one. Hey neighbor, would you have some sugar that I could borrow?
Huh?